Well, hello.
Well, hi, how are we?
We are doing so good. You are looking so well lit as always. The setup for you, lighting wise and video wise, you know what the fuck you're doing.
I mean, it's not my first time at the rodeo, darling.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the podcast. Absolutely positively one of my favorite people to have on and to do podcasting with. It is the one and only Matt Palmer.
Oh, thank you so much, Rory, for having me back. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so sad that we're not in person, but as I messaged you a couple days ago, I was a little under the weather.
What do you think you had?
I mean, it was just a plain old cold. Like it's just congestion and like started a little bit of a throat thing, but it's mostly just, nasal nonsense, which we are not into.
We aren't into nasal nonsense, and I've never done any drugs up the nose either. But I'll tell you because that's what it made me think of. But
Of course.
yeah. So I asked because the super flu sounds really shitty this year.
I've heard that there's a lot of super flu happening, but I don't think that's not really my ministry at this moment. I would love to go to a CVS, get every shot I ever needed, but I feel like I'm going to wait until this cold is done and do that. But I don't think this is super anything. This is very low stakes sneezing. I did a COVID test just to be safe, and that was
Very
very negative. And
responsible.
so, I mean, we love responsibility, and yeah. So I feel much better today, honestly, than even I felt yesterday or the day prior, which was some low points.
Well, you look great and seem great. We were supposed to hang out today, and
We
then
were.
you, out of courtesy, you were like, "Do you want to just do it over Zoom because I'm sick?" And I was like, "Oh, that's perfect." But we also always joke, "Are we really hanging out if it's not being recorded?"
That's the thing. It's the only hangs need to like the only hangs that matter turn into content. You know what
And
I
I
mean?
don't.
Like
It would be one thing if like we were neglecting knowing each other as real friends for the sake of podcasts, but the conversations are the same.
they are the same. I
So
feel like
it's
there's very little that's off limits on this podcast, so it all comes up.
That's correct. And for those who don't know, I can't imagine people don't, but you are the co-host of the Two Gay Mats podcast. Very
That's true.
successful. I've been seeing some gains with you guys. There's just a lot of engagement, and people seem like has there been like a lot of recent growth?
I mean, we started the year on the right foot. It was very much like, okay, I'm going on this break and I want to make the podcast, make the YouTube show as good as possible. I'm going to do my research, do these things. And I was like, Matt Steele, it would be insane if you did not watch Heated Rivalry in full because we have to talk about it. He doesn't generally watch a television show, but as you know, I
Oh
feel like you guys
wow, I
have a
didn't know that
special.
about him because
No,
he's
that's
an actor and he's on them.
exactly. He loves a movie and he loves Big Brother, but like any sort of scripted TV, he's like not about. And I'm like, we have to talk about this. It would be such a miss if we didn't. So he came back with a heated rivalry moment very early on, and he didn't understand the difference between the cabin, which is what he called it, and
I
the
got involved in
cottage.
that discourse. Yes.
That conversation, prompted a lot of responses from the audience, from the people out there. So yeah,
Well, it turns out the internet's talking about it. So, no, you would
right.
have been because that's what a lot of you guys do a lot of things, but a lot of what you do is sort of like your takes on new releases and like the stuff
Yes,
that people are buzzing about. So, like, that's like already your lane. So, I imagine like there are some times where you have to watch and listen to things that like you aren't in a rush to see, but like,
exactly.
that's kind of your gig. And, that's so funny about a lot there are a lot of comedians that don't watch stand up. You know what I mean? Like,
Interesting.
well, because you hear so much of it on the job. Like it's
Mhm.
like a lot of comedians go home and watch, this is what I do, historical documentaries. Like it's like that's work stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And also for some comedians, it's oh, they got a fancier special than I did, or oh, they got.
Right.
But okay, so yes, and we did it last week. We did a whole podcast on Heated Rivalry. I had my
Yeah.
friend Layla who got me into it, and
Mm.
and funnily enough, we were having an audio issue last week where I was turned way down. But it's funny because and Layla's like a very chill person. So at
Right.
first I was like, "Oh fuck, the audio for the whole episode's fucked up." And then I was like, "Wait, me turned down and her turned up is the perfect." I was like,
I
because
love it.
you have the same affliction I do, which is nobody's struggling to hear us.
Nope, everyone can hear us through the wall, through the window, like if down the street. We're projectors. What do you want? We're on stage. We know what to do with a mic. We know how to
Hello?
enunciate.
And
Hi.
and you know what? It's sometimes I'm like Jesus fucking Christ, the sound of my own voice. Oh my God. But yeah, so we did a whole heated rivalry podcast. I And it was funny because you and I haven't talked a ton about it. I obviously knew you guys did an episode, but
Yeah.
like it's been interesting to realize that I'm not the only person who's so shaken. And like there's a lot like there's been enough time, and it's only been a couple of weeks, but for there to be like we're reflecting on the reaction now, like where it's like,
Yes.
wait a second, like there's a comedian who's a lesbian who I just saw do a really funny bit about how she's basically like. I was not a believer. Like I was not a part of a fan army. She's like, I had no preparation for this. Like, what's become
Yeah.
of me? And she's like, I thought, I thought it was going to be like this like addictive show like Candy. And she was like, it turns out it's black tar heroin. It's like I am broken and so and like but just the way is. And then I watched Busy Phillips have like a hysterically crying at the end of episode 5, and I was like,
Oh,
oh, okay, like. And then when you get into the layers, so did Steele? Okay, here's where you play into this is because like
yes.
we joke that I'm Mariah's slutty side and you are her Mary Poppins side, and like
Yes.
you have a partner. I'm not saying you don't have that side of yourself too, but like that is not you don't talk you don't talk about you're very proper like you don't so were you scandalized by the show or were you or and how was it talking about it on your show?
Right. I was not. Like, I feel like they really, loop you in those first several episodes of like, okay, we are having sex scenes and like they're happening and like we're not gonna just like show a second of it and like cut away
Right,
and
right.
like you get to assume what happens. It's like, no, you're gonna sit down and watch this. But as the show went on, I mean, come on. At the end of the day, I'm a gay person. These are two very hot guys. I'm not upset about it. And B, as the show went on and the emotions got deeper and the relationships, it's like, oh, of course we love the spicy moments. We love the, physical connection that they're having, but also there's such an emotional connection and component that comes
Oh, the
in.
love story
in
is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
That's the thing. The second half of that season, especially, is like really highlighting the love story. So, of course, I'm in my music box daydream bag and like, yes, this is exactly what she was singing about from now until forever. Track 10.
Oh, and
Classic
the
song.
longing of it all.
Yes.
But before we keep going, I've forgotten to mention this the last several weeks. The podcast is now available on YouTube, you guys. This
Yes.
show. Now, Matt Palmer, you were on me for a long time about you're like you got to do video, and I was like, who? I'm like, this was the hang up for me. I was like, who watches podcasts? Turns out everybody. So. But you know what? I'm at a place like I have totally made peace with the fact that like I don't have my finger on the pulse of what people
Right.
do. I haven't
Right.
for years.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm old, it's because I don't care. So and I just know how I do things. And so
Yes.
but then when I realized how many people then I was told that YouTube is now the most popular place to consume a podcast, and I was like,
Yes.
well, we're recording them anyway,
It's true.
so I was like, so you guys, our YouTube channel is Super Excited Pod. It's find it, it's places, it's the link in my Instagram bio and stuff like that. But I just want people to know who, for God knows why, if you want to watch these. I mean, Matt looks cute today, so I this would be a good one to watch. Yeah, and I'll be like Mr. Rogers, where you know how Mr. Rogers always had a different color sweater every day. It'll be what tank top
Yeah.
is Rory wearing today? But okay, so we're on YouTube. I mentioned it. It's happening. Also by merch.
Yes.
Okay, so and thank you, Matt Palmer, for being right as usual. But okay, so yeah, like so my mom watched Heated Rivalry.
That's
and
so cute.
it was super cute, and like we talk every Saturday morning, and like I had a mental breakdown that Saturday. I just had such a meltdown like telling her about this show that I think she was like, well, now I have to. But she
Right.
was so into it, and like it got like. God, it can get overwhelming when you're like why representation matters, and like it's the show helps explain a lot of things to people who aren't exposed to gay dating and sex in such an intimate fashion. Like,
Right.
the sex scenes are really hot, but they're also like very telling of the relationship. Like, for example, like I thought there was great verse representation, like of that it's
Absolutely.
not just necessarily that one person's the top, one person's the bottom, and that's that. But also, like, I love how Ilya's the top, but he always makes sure Shane finishes. Like that is
It's
so
true.
like that to me, like before Ilya, like is letting his emotional guard down, you're like, oh no, he's not just a selfish prick. Like he's a guy. Like
Totally.
it was and then like to be able to talk about that with my mom was just like, and like my when you know that my mom was at my special, and people were
Yeah.
all like, God, was she like at the taping of it? And people were like, was she so like what did she think of those jokes? Because there's so many raunchy gay sex jokes about my life. And I never for 1 second was like concerned about that because my mom has
Totally.
always been a cool person. Like,
Yeah.
and like the type where it's just like no, she's gonna be able to hang. You know what I
Right.
mean? And like I think the part of the reason I'm so this way is because that's like her influence. So it
Right.
was a really beautiful conversation. And then like when I was like, so the problem is I am an Ilya and I want an Ilya. And my mother goes,
Yeah.
yeah, that tracks. That makes a lot of sense. So there was just like a very, we talked about it for like 2 hours. It was wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so great. I mean, yeah, no, that's a beautiful connection. I feel like we are very lucky to have moms that are cool and like
Yeah.
not in the like, Amy Poehler allowing kids to drink
Right,
underage
right.
kind of way, but like actually like when we are now adults, our parents aren't starting to think of us also as adults. It's not like, oh, but I think of you as my little baby and you should only be exposed to X, Y, and Z. It's like,
Right,
no,
right.
we're all adults in this conversation, and like that is okay. And like that's something that I feel like not everybody has. So we should definitely count ourselves lucky in that way. But yeah, no, I think this show and its success is so exciting for a plethora of reasons. And one of them is like, I feel like ever since this last election, I feel like you can see things culturally, pop culturally, where it's like, okay, that whole moment where like things were woke and there was all this gay shit getting made. Like everyone said
Yeah.
goodbye to that because
Yeah,
there's been
yeah.
a referendum. Everyone is saying they don't want this. But you know what companies care about more than like the political climate that they assume from what happens in elections is fucking money.
That's
and
right.
this show is making so much money. I think we're going to get more queer content that gets made and actually gets pushed to a wide audience because I feel like there are so many like directors and showrunners and like screenplay writers out there who are like, I cannot get my gay shit made at all these days. Since this last election, like the success of this show is always going to highlight, hey, people want these stories. People like are not as closed-minded as you're painting them to be because of what happened in 2024.
That's a beautiful point, and it hits, especially for me because I have this special that just came out that is
Yes.
super raunchy gay jokes, and in upon its release, like I have been sort of required to reflect on like. It's been a really interesting experience to have some like my first like official release, right? Because there are
Yes.
all of these expectations that I have about how it's gonna go, and you're sort of you're forced to think of yourself as a product, and I had this is something I totally could have made up in my head, but there's another comedian who is funnier than me and more famous than me, who I think may have gotten a placement that there was only one gay slot for. Again, this is good, but that happens, right? Like,
Yes.
we're only going to hire one gay person or we're only going to pick up one gay special or whatever. And like, sort of kind of, with the popularity of Heated Rivalry, it's like, obviously I'm not on their level and it's not a scripted series, but like the messaging to me is like, oh, actually my shit could be more mainstream than it's been assumed, And so,
100%.
and you host a podcast called Two Gay Mats. Like, it's like there's suddenly like an appetite, like it's a rising
Yes.
tides, right? Like
Yes,
that's sort of what it is.
absolutely.
And I'm so in love with Connor's story, and because at first I was in love with Ilya, you know what I
Right.
mean? And they're nothing
Right.
alike. And
Yes.
then like it would be so easy to hate him or be jealous of him or anything like that, but he's such a sweet man, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and he's so talented. I was like, you deserve all of this, like
100%.
so yeah, that's what you're gonna ask me something, I think.
Oh, I don't even remember what I was going to ask. All I will say is I agree. I
I
think
said I
both
was in
they-
love with, yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, my question, yeah, is like, when did it move from Ilya to Connor? Because I watch him in those interviews and it's like, oh, you could not be more different. You are clearly just like this guy from Texas who's like kind of very sweet and smiley and just like happy to be here. And Ilya's attitude is so very different. So
Did you
it's nice
see-
that you can be in
yeah.
love with both.
Well, did you see? Well, I know, but it's also very my therapist understood. I didn't so much therapy. Like we've talked about it in therapy so much, and I'm like
Right.
Dominic's only seen the first episode, and I'm like, okay, like
You
you
got
gotta
to get
finish.
on it.
But well, I mean, the thing is, Ilya really is my type. Like
Hmm.
I love a jock with a heart of gold. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I like the type of guy, like, and I think I like athletes is because they're disciplined and they like have to it's like commit to stuff.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't mind if he's a little bit of a dickhead if like he like like the way that he looks at Shane is just like
Hmm.
and this is the other thing too that a lot of people are talking about is that like a lot of people are getting to the end of the show and like wow it's so beautiful and then you're kind of like a I haven't been loved like that. Like that kind of realization. Or
Right.
like I haven't like had a connection you know what I mean like
Yeah.
as fire but then I saw this therapist unpacking it like he's like the show's great but like that's not really what you want because
Yeah.
I watch it and like while it's very sexy and intense for us to watch, to have lived it as either of those characters seems like absolute torture. Years go
Especially,
by.
that's the thing. The amount of time in between some of the
That's a
meetups. You're
lot
like,
of
wait,
loneliness.
that season one, I believe, spans from like what, 07 to 2016 or something. And I'm like, okay, and now we're finally getting to the point that we get up to in the cottage. Like, it's a long stretch of time, absolutely.
I'm coming to the cottage. I oh man. Well, you know the thing is that Ilya's voice is very very sexy. And I think it must be very jarring for someone like Connor Story to be like facing all of that like, "Hey, you're not who I thought you were." Like
Right.
it's a thing that actors have to go through. I mean, for me, it's like people always assume that the jokes are my real life,
Hmm.
but a lot of them are. So I love to hide behind, oh, I'm just writing about a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that actually happened. Um, but okay, so the other thing that I believe are watching is Traitors.
Oh, of
Okay.
course I am watching
Okay,
Traitors.
so for those who don't know, Matt Palmer had a Traitors themed birthday, beautifully orchestrated Traitors themed birthday party this past
Yes.
spring when the show was getting really popular, and I didn't know anything about it. I was just there because it
Mm.
was your birthday, and you had this really cool party where like hours long game
Hours long.
and I'm going into it pretty blind and but I'm learning as we go what the show is about and
Yeah.
everyone took it really seriously in a way that was
Yes.
really cool because sometimes party games can be like well I'm the first one guilty at a party game of like phoning it in and like and I quickly became aware like no we're like taking like this is like and like you had the all of our photos printed out on the wall and
Yes.
it was just like a and like some real like intense emotions coming out
Absolutely.
from the party guests and so was that your idea or was that Jackson's?
I think it was my idea with Jackson, and we want to do it again because Jackson didn't get to play. He was kind of the Alan Cumming. He was like
Right.
hosting the whole
He didn't
thing, and
get to play.
I would love for him to play, and so I can host the thing at some point. So, but yeah, we came up with the idea because we were a big fan of the Peacock reality show, which stars a lot of celeb reality people and like housewives, a lot of people coming together who basically play a big game of mafia, but it's set in a Scottish castle, and people get like murdered overnight by the people that are defined as the traitors in the group. And then the other faithful, like kind of townspeople, try to stay alive and try to kick out the traitors and pick them off one by one. But it's hard because there's like 23 people on the television show and only 3 or 4 of them are traitors. So it's like, how do you figure out who is the actual bad guy, who's killing people overnight? And yeah, the party was very similar in setup as the show. So wait, are you watching the season?
I am not, but I thought
Oh,
the recap you gave is exactly what I was hoping for, which is that
yeah.
like because I know a lot of people hear about it and they're like, what is this thing? Because it is like very popular and generating a lot of
Yes.
buzz. And then and also I know that Colton Underwood is on this season,
He
who
is,
is somebody
yes.
that you and I have talked about in the past. You know, I have to say that I still have a huge crush on him. I
Yeah.
sort of like talk about like an like well except Colton 2.0 is different than the old Colton, but I never watched The Bachelor.
Mm.
I become aware of Colton Underwood when he is forced to come out, and you had the famous story that you had a colonoscopy around that time.
That is
And you
correct.
like, and I'm so wish I could see Matt Palmer on under anesthesia because tell the people what you said to your anesthesiologist. anesthesiologist?
I just woke up and I asked my anesthesiologist, or I didn't even know if he's a nurse or what, but I was like, "Are you a bachelor person?"
Oh, a
And he was
bachelor
like,
person, right?
and he was like, "I mean, I'm single or something." I was like, "No, the show. Are you like?" I was like, because Colton came out, and I'm saying this all under anesthesia. I don't know why.
Did you hear
I
Colton
felt
came out like with it, like
right.
as though you're on two gay mats, like, and he's co-hosting and filling in.
I know he
Um,
was very confused by the line of questioning, but I thought I needed someone to discuss it with because I just seen his interview that morning, and I was like, Colton's out.
I
Colton's
do
coming
think
out.
that I do think that Colton lives in my neighborhood because I've seen his husband at the grocery store.
Oh,
Um,
nice. That's cool.
So but anyway, so he's on this season, and I
Yes.
know that Michael Rappaport is
Ooh,
he's the villain of the
the
this season.
the worst person in the world.
Well, so isn't he one of these that like there were people who early on in Trump times like became sort of like he at a certain point was like truth telling like about like he was anti-Trump and getting celebrated for it, and then he's done this in like he's one of these who like took a whole U-turn and then is
Yeah.
like what like he says super ignorant like stuff, right? Is he
Yeah,
like
no, he's very I don't know exactly what he's if he's into Trump or not. I know that he's very anti-Mamdani and like I think he's planning to run for mayor so that he
but
can like
like
unseat Mamdani like and so
and his thing is like running his mouth, but he thinks it's more popular than it is. And people just like some
yes.
guy hit him with a snowball on the street and was like, just shut the fuck up. Because he's
Yes.
he's one of these white guys that just fucking talks.
If you watch the Traitors, that's exactly what you want to do to him. They honestly, I mean, spoiler alert for the Traitors, if anybody listening to this is trying to watch it, when they banish him, they're all like, we actually don't give a fuck if you're a traitor or a faithful. We just want you in the castle. You're just so obnoxious and distracting and we want you gone. Because it's like the first three episodes were all excellent, but it was like, is this show unwatchable with this man here? Like, if anything happens, like, if it's like, oh, I didn't get a shield on this thing because someone did X, Y, and Z, he takes it so personally. He thinks like he is so entitled to everything. And if something doesn't go his way, he makes this huge
Oh, yeah.
crybaby moment about it.
Classic Gen X white guy shit.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just was so nauseating. Everyone is trying to play the game, and he's like finger pointing, and like Colton honestly is not being my favorite on this season. But
What's
like,
wrong with Colton?
Colton, he's just playing really hard. He's playing really aggressively and like decides amongst himself that like, oh, this person's a traitor, so I'm gonna go after them with my full might every round table. I get them kicked out. They weren't a traitor. Oops. And then he just does the same thing to another faithful and it's just like you need to cool it. He just needs to take a back seat a little bit. He's just playing the game a little hard. But Michael Rappaport was going up against him at a round table, and he said something to the effect of to Colton, no one would be better than you at like keeping a secret, like being a traitor, since you like implying like you didn't come out until late. And it's like you are being such an asshole. Like again, I'm not a Colton fan of him on this show, but like you
It's a cheap
cannot
shot.
say
It's a
it's
cheap
the
shot.
cheapest shot. You can't
Yeah.
just say it. Like, in so many people on the show, I think because of Alan Cummings' influence, are queer people, and you think they're gonna like be okay with you being like, well, you lied to all of us because you said you were straight for so long, which are actually it's like, fuck you, Michael Rappaport, like get out of here. And he
Yeah.
voted.
No,
He voted no.
there's a that's also like that's like a very triggering thing to do because it's like there are various ways in which like people who are already the victim are made to fit like are gaslit into and it happens to a lot of marginalized groups. It's like you're already the victim and then you're gaslit into like you made it weird. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Totally.
Like
Totally.
or because the world is fucked up. Why'd you got to
Right.
make it weird? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I've seen, but you're saying Colton's playing hard, and I've seen firsthand how from your birthday party game how people take it really seriously and play hard.
Yes.
And I remember, true or false, you were like the next day after you were like taking the temperature and making sure everyone was okay.
Yes.
Which is a stressful, like when it's your birthday, like that's a stressful responsibility. But and your co-host and our friend Matt Steele was present at the game as well. You would be sickened to see how sweet Matt Steele and I are to each other in our DM exchanges.
I would.
The running joke is I don't even know how this started, but I started calling him my favorite Matt, which I've gotten to know him through you, but
Right.
I think it's also because he and I were the same year at NYU. We didn't know each
Yes.
other, but we're a year younger than you, and we'll never let you live it
You're
down.
very excited about that. Yes, I believe that is how it started.
So yes, it's this camaraderie. Also, he's so sweet, and he is starring off Broadway right now in Messy White Gaze, and
Yes,
just fucking met Hillary Clinton. And
we
you guys
did.
just talked about it on the show, right?
We did. We talked about it last week. She came to the closing night of this run of Messy White Gaze, and he is a huge Hillary fan, has been for his like entire life, was so devastated in 2016 as we all were. And so I think the fact that he got to interact with her and like get this
Oh
picture
my
with her
God.
was such a life highlight for him. So I
It's
love
like,
it.
yes, it's exciting to meet someone famous, and it's exciting to meet somebody who you know, were a supporter of, but like, I don't know, like, I think, yeah, like because 2016 was so traumatic for a lot of us, I
Yes.
felt enormously protective of her because of
Mhm.
how unfairly we have like fumbled her as a country. And
Yes.
especially in this moment right now, what she's being put through by the Republicans in Congress as it relates to being held in contempt of Congress, all this shit. I'm like, how's my girl doing? Next, then I log on and I see she's hanging out with theater gays like she should be, because that's where she is loved. That is where
Exactly.
Hillary Clinton is so loved in New York City, and get her around these messy gays. And it's funny because I and so yeah, I also knew what it meant to steal. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
because you could also see it in his face in the picture.
I
It's such
know.
a good picture. And I have had a recurring dream that I have is I get to meet somebody I really, really, really want to meet, and we take a
Mm.
selfie together, and like my phone won't take the picture, like, or
Oh
like the picture
no.
disappears. The stress dream is I got to take a picture with somebody I've always wanted to meet, and then we don't get the picture. And that
I hate
happened
that.
with Hillary Clinton in 2016. Like, it's a very vivid dream that I still remember. So for Steele to get such a great photo, I was like, oh, he like, and she looks psyched, and I was just
Yes.
like, I was like, I texted him, I was like, it made me really happy.
Oh,
Um,
it is great. It is great.
and you guys have been able to do your show even though he's in New York all these months.
That is correct. We figured out a way to make sure we can do this all remotely. We use something called riverside.com. I don't know if you've ever used it,
Yes,
but
yes.
that is really good for
Is
our
it better than Zoom?
I mean, it's good because we also live stream our recording of the podcast, and so it's like we still can do those live streams via Riverside, which is
Okay.
nice, and it like records us separately in really good quality, and so yeah, like it's good. So yeah, we've been doing that, and because the whole thing is like this came up pretty suddenly late last summer, I want to say, and so it was like, okay, we have to figure out how to keep the ball rolling because two gay mats. I feel like with any sort of internet shit, it's like once you have momentum, you don't want to stop to a halt and try to build it up again. You want to like keep
You
the
know what's really
ball
fun is when
rolling.
you have momentum and then the algorithm changes. That's
Oh,
really fun. I love
everybody loves
that.
that.
Yeah.
Everybody loves that. So we were trying. We can't control the algorithm, but we can control like the amount of output we have, our
That's it.
schedule, and all of this. And so yes, when he left, we tried to make sure to stay on schedule, and we really have. I feel like it's been pretty seamless. Luckily.
You are like, something I have always related to about you is your tenacity is pretty fierce. And like you like I think we both have this like in slightly insane chip in our brain that's like the harder it gets, the more we're fucking gonna get it. And you guys
Right.
have been doing the show for how many years?
I want to say it'll be 13 this year.
Your periods are very synced because like you've taken on some of each other's like ways of speaking in a way
It's
that's very
true.
beautiful. It's no, it makes, you know what it does? It's like a band. It makes the show sound in you're in harmony. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's not, you know, I've always joked the reason I'm a solo act is because I need to be the star of the show. It's all about me. But no, but also because it's really hard. You have to pick your creative partnerships really carefully. And
True.
because the real reason I never wanted to be in a band was when Jerry left the Spice Girls at the height of the fame, when
Right.
somebody can just decide they're over it, and that
Yes.
ruins all of your everything that you've worked for, which happens all the time when bands break up. And so it's been one of the things that I did say to Steele was you deserve everything great that's happening for you right now, because the other thing, the thing that sucks, but the thing that's also great about the landscape right now is that everything can change really fast. And
True.
like Heated Rivalry is a great example. Like Connor Story was looking for new restaurant jobs, and now he is going to work for the rest of his life, and he's extremely famous.
Yeah.
So that's where like the tenacity pays off. Like I was journaling about this because I was like, something like Heated Rivalry is just so lightning in a bottle. You can never ask for something like that. But I was
Right.
like, but I was also like, what a beautiful, like there's such an example of something that's like an underdog product. They made it, they're really proud of it, and it gets really appreciated. But there are a lot of people who make great stuff that's not getting that level of attention.
Yeah.
And I was just reflecting on like, you know what? The difference, you can't ask for a lightning in a bottle moment, but tenacity and consistency and stay like just not getting out of line,
Yeah.
it it'll get you appreciated. It's not gonna,
100%.
it won't make you the most famous person in the world necessarily, but it'll get you in there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think you and I both have like we're just not gonna go away until
Right.
we get. And like I think also something I was talking about with my therapist is the longer that you're in it, the more you like, you can't be so set on what your younger self wanted things to, how your younger self
Right.
wanted it to go, because it was based on information before everything changed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like our
Yeah.
goals, what we imagined our careers would be like late night talk. Like I could have grown up wanting to be a late night talk show and now be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like
Right. Right.
those aren't existing anymore. Like you have to sort of like keep adapting to the way things are changing. And I think you have a very quick, like we were joking before about how it's taken me this long to do videos, but like you have kept up with like the pace of the changes. Are you tired? Like, or does it invigorate you? I get the sense it's the latter.
I think it's a little bit more the latter. There are certain things where it's like, yeah, you're gonna see us making more reels and more short form shit, and like that. None of it's like super fun, but it's like in my head, if I'm saying, okay, I want this to be my full time job someday, we need to start treating this more like a job now. Like we need to be doing our homework, watching.
Right,
I
right.
watched the Golden Globes, even though I wasn't like super interested in every moment, but like that'll become a more interesting conversation if I can speak to it with Matt Steele and it's not just in his lap to talk about. And I kind of feel similarly about like, figuring out the Patreon and figuring out like short form content on Instagram, TikTok, wherever. It's like, of course it's work, but like if the plan is to make this my job, then like, yeah, there's going to be some work involved. It's not just going to be the fun parts, talking only about the shit you
10,000
want to talk
hours,
about.
right? It's
Yes.
like, or whatever the fucking many thousands of hours it is. I mean,
Yes.
so it's funny that you mentioned the Golden Globes because award show culture has changed so much. It used to be such a big deal. Now it's whatever. But what was most fascinating about the Golden Globes to me was Nikki Glaser, because
Oh,
she's a comic that I really look up to.
yeah.
And she, crushed last year, and I knew she would
Yes.
crush again this year. And because she comes from the Conan O'Brien school of over prepare. And
Yes.
she was working out her Golden Globe jokes around town in the weeks before the show, and I know people who were in the room for some of those. And like I like she I have learned how to do that work from comics
Mhm.
like her,
Yeah.
and it's such a thrill because prior, you'll remember Joe Coy hosted and famously
Mhm.
bombed,
Yeah.
and when Nikki was hired the next year, I was like, she is going to demolish, and she was fresh off the heat from the Tom Brady roast, and her jokes are so like she had a couple that I was like the challenge of the job is you have to make jokes about these people and then make them laugh at themselves, and they're all the
Yeah.
people that don't laugh at themselves, but
Right.
she does it because she is loose, and
Mhm.
she's like, oh no, but I love you. And so
Right.
she injects that in between, like the joke about Leo's
Yeah.
girlfriend turning 30,
I was just
and
thinking
then
about
how she says it's the only thing we know about
that.
you.
Yeah.
She
No, I
also
love
does
that.
she also does a great bit about aging where because she's like 39, and she's like what's funny is like people in their 20s are always like, oh, like she's like, you look at me and women older than me and you think like, oh, that's sad, like
Right.
it's sad that they're aging. And she's like, you think, but when you're in your 20s, you're like, oh, that's so sad that's happening to them, but I'm gonna opt out of that. Like I want to travel. Like I
Right.
don't like, and like we all do it. Like you convince yourself that you're not gonna get old,
Yeah.
And I was like, so she is just like a great way to like I don't know, like address things really directly as a woman that I think people respond well to. So I was really excited. I didn't watch like the awards and stuff like that, but I watched her crush. But I want to circle back to your birthday party. I love how this is like the story we keep going back to because we didn't get to the best part, which is who won the whole fucking game.
Roy run.
Me, I
Roy
won
run.
the whole game.
You
And
did. Congratulations.
what was funny about it is we do have it on video. The reaction shots were outrageous because everyone had strong emotions. But I think yours was the funniest reaction shot because you looked at me like, "Oh, that's really annoying." Like, and I think you were I think what ultimately happened was people thought I didn't know enough about the game. How could it possibly be me? And so
Right.
I floated through very aloofly and then
Yes.
upset everybody a great deal. What was really funny, and like I can see, like I saw the disappointment in your eyes, and then what was really funny was on your podcast, the next episode, as you guys were recapping it, Matt Steele accused you of protecting me
Crazy.
in the game, and that was fun for me to watch because I was like, I love how I'm getting in between the mats, first of all, but also you and I've been friends for a really long time. I was like, Matt Palmer, like I would trust you with my life, but like you're not gonna you're not gonna save me in a game. You're gonna win.
No, I
Yeah.
was trying to win. There was a moment where your name came up. I was like, I just don't think it's Rory. But like, that's the extent of it. It's not like I was like, never put Rory's name down. That's not gonna
Right,
happen.
right.
He's like, and then he's just upset because he pulled a Colton and decided it was definitely somebody rounded
Well,
up
he
all the
was
tweets.
right to suspect me.
No, but he didn't. It wasn't you. He wasn't going after you. He was going
okay.
after someone else at the party who was a faithful. And so
Oh.
that blew up in his face. And so he's going to try to blame me for something. So, but all of us underestimated you because you were behaving as if you were like, I don't understand the game. Is Jackson playing? I've never seen the show. Like you were very much playing it very well, but just like, there's no way it's Rory because he doesn't even know what we're doing.
Okay, so I don't understand the game. It could also be exactly how you could describe me in high school. I don't understand the game is going to be
Yeah.
the title of my memoir. It's so applicable to some
should
things.
be.
But can I tell you also, I had so much fun at that party. And so
Good.
it was funny. I think people who really are into Traitors like did too, but like it was a different kind of fun. Like I was genuinely just enjoying myself the whole time. And so like that's why it was funny that like I won because like it wasn't like I wasn't like so emotionally invested. I had felt like I had already won. Like we were having a
Right.
nice time. And then I get all these prizes, great prizes. And then this part I had forgotten about, but I was reminded because I went to search for something in my texts, and then this text I got from you the next morning popped up, and it was very in your voice. I could hear you. I could hear, and sometimes your texts are like this. I can hear you saying them, and this was because because of the way you type it. You said, "Okay, now why did I receive a text about you making out with someone last night?" And this is another me thing because
Yeah.
I think when it's dark out, no one can see anything. And this used to happen when I had like a living room that faced out onto a street, and people had to be like, "If we have sex here, everyone can see." And I was
Right.
like, "They can see in? Really?" And so I may or may not have had a smoochy session in your front yard.
Yes.
I love how I'm like painting it like it was a discreet location. It wasn't.
It
And
wasn't.
then and I was caught, which
Yeah.
honestly made it hotter for both of us. We won't say who I was smooching. We'll protect the
Yes.
innocent. But but how obnoxious. Not only did I obliviously float through the game to win it, but then I had a makeout scandal all at
Hey.
your birthday party.
This was a big night for you. Like it was my party,
was
but
kind
you
of a big
really
night.
won the evening.
I know I wasn't gonna say it, but I was like, "Ooh, I really made that about me."
That's okay.
It's like the Mariah. It's like that. It's my night. No, it's mine. But no, that was a great. So wait, so you're thinking of doing it again for your next birthday?
I don't know if it would be for my birthday, but it would be, and I would like us to host another Traders party for sure. One in which I am hosting and Jackson plays because he should be able to play the game. He did so much work to like make it a thing the last time.
Is he?
so-
Are you both really into the show?
Yes, we both
Okay.
are really interested.
So yeah, so it would be fun for him to be able to join in. I can't believe how long you guys have been together now.
I know, yeah.
Not that like that's a surprise that you'd stay together. It's been since before COVID.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, no, our anniversary of like our first date is around now. Like we're celebrating it tomorrow, and it will have been 7 years ago.
Okay, so I am trying to reconnect with the romantic Rory.
Okay.
Because something happened and well, here's the thing is that like I'm good at it.
Yeah.
And I think what happened was like it was in my I had a really good relationship, and then after that I was like a little bit like, oh, if that didn't work, like how are they going to work? I was surrounded by like a lot of the relationship examples I had in my life were not relationships I would want, and so I was just sort of like, this doesn't seem like a good investment. And then also I tend to be attracted to some like emotionally damaged guys, and I was like, they don't seem like a good investment. And then like comedy became such a big part of my life, and I was just like a real, it was like I wasn't opposed to it, and I never wanted to be one of those people that was like active. Here I am, I'm actively interviewing boyfriend candidates, because that is not the type of relationship I would want to have either. And I've seen people get in relationships because they're lonely and they want to have a partner, and it's just like I don't need it. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy living alone, whatever. I enjoy traveling alone, but that side of me is going unused. And I was like, wait a second. That seems like a wasted potential. And then like it was around the time that I got into therapy in September that I was realizing I was having new feelings about that. And I was remembering like how many feelings I used to have as like a teenager in an early 20s or something, like the R&B, you referenced it before, like R&B songs and heartbreak and longing and all this stuff. Like I was like, what happened to that guy? And it's not like I got so jaded, but I also like don't want to be like I don't want to not have that side of myself. And then Heated Rivalry happened, and I'm like, it like that show happened to me at a time that was already like everything in me was already shifting, and then that happened, and now I'm like, I believe in love again. Patti LaBelle has an album from the 80s called I'm in Love Again. And on it, she is wearing a giant fur coat walking down the streets of New York with a Barack Obama looking man on her arm with the biggest smile on her face. And I always laugh at that album cover because I'm like, oh, she just woke up and decided I'm in love again. And I always thought that that's how it would happen for me. Like my next relationship, I was just gonna be like, and like I have had a list in my phone of guys who I know who I would be like, if we were both down to try to be like BFs, I would try that. So
all right, that's cool.
Well,
are they gay?
Except for that. That's really funny. I've had sex with all of them, but I don't know that means they necessarily identify as gay. But no, or they're not in. You know, the thing is, and this is also a full circle moment with heated rivalry, is that men our age and older have a lot of fucking trauma from the world we grew up in, and I have always said that you're one of the best, well-adjusted gay people I know. And we've gotten into why that you just at an early point were like, this is just going to be what it's going to be. But like, you know, especially with if my type tends to be these athletes who aren't always immediately perceived to be gay, there's a very, you know, whether or not you're trying to or not, if you're passing, it's such a different experience than somebody who is like very effeminate, because it's the cat's out of the bag sooner. You know what I mean? And it's whereas these other guys can sort of like get away with passing for a while, and it delays their development. You know what I mean? Like in terms of their self-acceptance. So like I'm patient with myself, although my therapist has started laughing at me during sessions at times that I'm not telling a joke, so that's been fun. But I'm being patient with myself because I'm like, the pool I'm dealing with is so fucked up too, you know? So it's like like the thing is, the other thing that to be mentioned about Heated Rivalry is like they go through so much undue pain and agony because of that exact thing. So. And then it's kind of funny at the end where you're just like, oh, so now everything's fixed. And it will, I know it's based on the books and stuff like that, but like that, it's a very beautiful end of the season. But like, then does the relationship work? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
we'll see.
well,
Yeah.
that's what's hard. And so, and like, I think some of the stuff I'm untangling in therapy is stuff that's potentially been getting in the way of me being ready for a relationship.
Mm.
So it's like a Rory 3.0 situation where I'm like, oh, like, but it has to be organic for me. Like it
Yeah.
has to be. It can't be like I go on Hinge until I find a boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
what do you make of all of this, having known me as long as you have?
I mean, I think it's good that you're opening yourself back up to it. I feel like, opening up a dating app every once in a while and seeing if you want to go on some dates is not a
Oh,
harmful thing.
it's more than once in a while. Yeah, I'm on the
I
apps, King.
I think that's a great thing. I think it's good to remind yourself that like even though it's not something you feel like you need, it's not something that you feel like, oh, if I don't have this, my life will be over. It still is okay to say, hey, this is something I want. Like if I get to exercise this muscle again, if that has been dormant for however
That's it.
long, why not? Like why not meet someone I could be excited about and would be excited about me? I think it's all positive stuff. It feels like you're just
It's
like,
not being thirsty. It's about being open. You know?
yes,
Yeah.
100%.
And you said something nice to me once that may not. You don't have to tell me if it doesn't apply anymore because I think it still does. Which is you were relative to gay guys who are just so like sex driven that they're no longer like capable of being in a relationship. You said to me that you're like, oh, I don't. You're fine. Like you're not broken yet. Essentially was the sentiment, and I was like, oh, good, okay.
No,
Well, because I
no.
think. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I stand by it. I just feel like it's clear that it's on the table for you. It's something you're interested in exploring. If it happens, it happens. That's good. But it's also like it also would be worrying if someone was like, if this doesn't happen, like my life will crumble. So it's like I feel like you're in a very good balance of like, yes, I'm open. I hope it happens. If not, my life's gonna be great.
Yeah, and I think like what's I think some part of the emotional trigger about Heated Rivalry for a lot of people is like it occurred to me more than once while I was watching it. The thought of, oh, I didn't think we get to have that. Like
Mm,
in so many different ways. And
right.
and just like something that really hit hard is when it is revealed that like they're both being monogamous before they've talked about it.
Yeah.
And just like how beautiful that moment was. Like Shane's like, oh, really? You haven't been with anybody else? And like I think that like there's just I think I became really pragmatic as I got older. It just in terms of
Mhm.
being like, let's be real about what are reasonable expectations of men. And
Right.
then also like I just didn't want to be in one of those relationships that people like are just like it's more like a business partnership, you know, and we all know them. They exist, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
where it's like they're friends who combine finances to buy property. Like there's no
Right.
shame in that, you know? Like
Totally.
your teeth look beautiful today.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
really we're gonna have to talk toothpaste after the end of this because
A lot of it's the lighting. A
it's
lot of it is
working.
just, well, thank you.
But yeah, like I think like I over managed my own expectations maybe. But
Okay.
also, like. I think I really am one of those people that needed I mean, I've been single since I was 25 now. Like, I needed to sample the samples, whatever
Yeah.
that says about me. You know what I mean? Like, and boy, have I been sampling. You know what I mean? But like, I know that when the next time I'm in a relationship, it's not going to make me feel like, oh, what else is out there?
Right.
Also, I'm going to be such a different boyfriend than I was the last time I was in a relationship because I'm so much more secure.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, and like, you know, I want to do different things than I did when I was last in a relationship. Like,
Totally.
my idea of going out is doing stand-up comedy or going to a restaurant with a friend. Like,
Right.
I don't need to go out in WeHo and do all of that shit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so you can see why people like I remember Doug and Kamala Harris talking about how like they're like, oh, if we got together in our 20s, we wouldn't still be together. Like
Wow.
that they needed to I'm not saying they were both just fucking for years, but like that they both needed it's so much of it too is about timing.
Absolutely.
And when you met your partner, you were in different places because he was sort of still new to all of it, but
Yeah.
it's still it still worked. Like your timing still worked.
Yeah, it's still worked out where like we were both looking for the same thing at the same time, and yeah, no, it's been a good thing, and we were compatible. It just is, yeah, we lucked out in a lot of ways, and
He's so easy to get along with too. Like
yeah,
I find him very like because when some people bring their boyfriend to stuff, you're like, oh, okay. But like when Jackson comes, I'm like, oh, this will be good. Isn't it?
yeah,
But like I have people's boyfriends and girlfriends like in such different categories in that way. Like
right,
where like if there's some of them like if they bring them and didn't mention they were bringing them, you're like, oh, I could have used a heads up.
yes,
And then others of
exactly,
them, it's like, oh, I don't even what, please.
right.
What? So I joke, but not really, that Ilya Rozanov is my type. Like who if Matt Palmer could get involved in a Queer Eye like you run my life situation,
Hmm.
who do you what type of guy do you think I need?
Oh, interesting question. I mean, I don't think Ilya is bad. I mean, again, a fictional character, but I would love,
Except for that, yeah.
I would love a an out person. That is what I would like. I just someone who has dated guys before and is out and is looking for, to date more men. And even if they, are new-ish to it, I feel like they shouldn't be so brand new that they're like testing things out. You know what I mean? Like I feel like
That's fair.
a few of the guys that I've heard about don't fall into that category, and I feel like that's the only request that I
Well,
would
I
want.
mean, absolutely. I am very aware about like there are certain guys who I have had friends with benefits like arrangements with that like
Yeah,
are not. I mean, this is the thing is that like being open to a relationship, part of it, the process right now is like who's ready. Like it's
yeah,
I. What's an interesting thing about therapy, and you can see how people get accidentally condescending about it, is that once you work out an issue in yourself, and you can see it in somebody else that they have that same issue, but they
yeah,
haven't figured it out yet.
yes,
That's an ick because I'm like,
yeah,
oh, but like I'm not judgmental. I'm sympathetic because I'm
totally.
like, oh, that's how I was too.
Yeah, I've been
So
there.
yeah, so I think that like there's a type of guy who I would be down to hook up with who like I am very aware is not a
Mm,
relationship space. I think age also plays into that too because I think
yeah,
that like so many gay guys want to just spend their 20s hooking up and like go ahead. Like, you
yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, because going back to like sampling the samples, like I've learned a lot from that research. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I know what, like, so it's funny. I had a brief fling with a Russian guy like 2 years ago. Did I tell
Yeah.
you about him?
No, I don't know that you did.
Ilya Rosa. It's just funny because Ilya, the character, is Rosen is Russian, and I the I so like I just and I don't know if this is an overgeneralization, but like I felt like oh Russian people and Irish people are like what's it when you combine chemicals and they explode? Like not a good like
That's
me and this
funny.
guy like our flirtation immediately started being me joking that he was ex KGB who was an assassin who was trying to kill me. So I just brought up like Russian stereotypes, problematic
Yeah.
ones from the jump, and but like and so but he like played along with it, and I was like. Like I would just be I went to his house. He made me dinner. Which when Eli's like, I make you tuna melts. I was like, oh my god, I've had a Russian make me a calzone. Um, and then after we had like a nice romantic time, I was like, he was walking me out to my car, and I said in my best Russian accent, "You put bomb in car, da." And then without missing a beat, this guy goes, "Da." Now, very hot.
Yeah.
He's and by the way, he doesn't have an accent. He just speaks Russian. But
Yeah.
we almost killed each other like more than once. We
Mm,
had a dinner and it's like we had dinner. We got in a fight during the dinner. We
is this dinner at someone's house or dinner out and
no, I'm
about?
at his
Okay.
house. So we have dinner. We get in a fight during dinner. We get over it. We start having sex. We get into another fight while we're having sex. We get over it. But then I went home and I think we were both like, this doesn't end well, right? Like
Yeah.
so. But and again, I'm not saying I am not opposed. I'm opposed to dating a Russian guy, but I was just like, oh, I can see that's like War of the Roses. Did you see that movie by the way? It was really good.
No, I haven't seen it.
Where it's essentially about a couple that's trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's this guy who lives in my neighborhood who's um like totally on the list of like absolutely would like he's checking a lot of the boxes for what I would imagine like a boyfriend energy to feel like, but he's
Yeah.
really emotionally unavailable,
Mm,
but he's like really courteous about like part of the problem with DL guys is they're not courteous about it. And
mm.
this guy isn't as DL. He's more just like I don't want to overpromise to you how much time I can give you or how
Yeah.
much this can be. And in a way that I find very respectful. And
Yeah.
because Heated Rivalry takes a place over such a long period of time, and because I'm older now, I'm like, oh, I can play the long game, like a little bit of a more of a patience for like if somebody's not in a place right now, like
Yeah.
I can hang out and keep you on the maybe list, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I really like about him is the first time he came over. We had a nice time, but he said something afterwards that really didn't rub me the right way, and I
Mm.
railed him for it. And then 4 days later, he wrote me the best apology I've ever gotten. And I was like, a guy
Wow.
who knows how to apologize. He was like, I take complete responsibility for how that came off. I just want you to know none of it was what I intended, but I take full like. And he was like, I just think you're really nice and really hot, and like want to see you again. I guess what we're saying is, if you want to apologize to me, call me hot somewhere in there,
Right.
and that'll be good. And
Don't
then
accept it.
the next time we hung out, it was like I had flown all day. I was so jet lagged, and I fell asleep while he was in the shower. Like I think we were supposed to have sex afterwards, and like I fell asleep while I was in the shower. Like wasn't my best like showing, because due to falling asleep while
Of
before the
course. Yeah.
sex. And he left me the case of White Claws he brought over and locked the door behind him, as opposed to being like mad at me about it. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Exactly.
He like did two gentlemanly things, and I was just like, oh fuck. And like then another time I had to yell at him, he just let me yell at him, and he was like, okay, you good? And I was like, yeah. And so like I need somebody who can handle all this fucking personality. I'm more
Absolutely.
confrontational than you are, but you have a big personality too. And you and I have joked about how like when do you let guys in on all of this? And I think we've said like right from the jump, you got to
Yeah.
know like I'm not going to hide the comment. If you don't think like my gay sex jokes are like for you, or if that's too crass for you, like it's not going to work.
Totally.
Was Jackson ever intimidated by your personality?
I don't think so. I feel like maybe early on, he was like, "Oh, this guy is different from me in a lot of ways." But I feel like the more we got to know each other, he could see how similar we were as well. But me having the internet presence or whatever, even though it was very small at the time, and the Mariah facts that spew out often, the pop music obsession, like it always a new thing for him, I'm sure. But he now has gotten used to it. I will play him songs of Mariah now, and he'll try to guess which album they're from. Like it's
Oh.
great. It's great.
Well, that's the thing is that like you don't need somebody who has your same interests, but
No.
when they try, it's
Oh,
almost better. Like
that's the
it's like
thing.
so because instead of like arguing with my boyfriend over the best Mariah album or whatever, like like a guy who's trying. It's like when Shane knows a little bit of Russian, and
Yes.
like there's just yeah. My mom was saying that the scene between Hollander and his mother really like hit
Oh,
her. You know what
I
I mean? Like
bet.
the
Yes.
mom's experience with all of that. And I love how when the parents are like, "How long has this been going on?" and they're like, since rookie year," and Eli was like, "No, since before that." And they're
I
like,
know. It's like, Ilya, please.
you know what else made me laugh so hard is when Shane is struggling to characterize their relationship, and Ilya, with his language barrier, goes, "We are lovers." And Shane goes, "No, that's gross."
Yeah, Shane is great. Justice for Shane. Justice for we've talked a lot about Connor Story. Hudson Williams, also incredibly talented, incredibly beautiful. I'm excited for his big moment as well. Just want to give Hudson a shout out.
No, that's and their relationship seems really beautiful between the two
Agreed.
actors that because going through what they're going through right now must be so fucking mind blowing. Like I
Totally.
think that everyone like with success that's so heavy and so like it's pandemonium when they're
Yeah.
like places. And
Yeah.
even like they did a Heated Rivalry SNL sketch where it was like Harry Potter but Heated Rivalry. It
Yeah.
was actually very funny. But like the crowd went bananas for the pre-tape when they realized that it was Heated Rivalry. Like so to go through that, like I think people assume that it's like it must all just be great, but like I think like first of all, the comments aren't always nice. You know what I
Totally.
mean? And then there's that weird like when fandom feels like they own you,
Yeah,
and
so
like
weird.
apparently there's been some bullying of Francois. What's his last name?
Arnaud
Francois.
or something?
Yeah, it's something
Arnaud.
French. He's
Yeah,
gorgeous. He's my other like I think Connor Story is my number one from that show, but like Francois is like right there, right?
right.
Because yeah, especially when there were those scenes of him jogging in the city and you could see his fucking abs through his shirt. Like what the
I
fuck?
know.
But apparently people have been really mean to him online. And so it's like even when something is so successful, like you have to deal like there's stuff that's like not so easy to do, like loss of privacy, loss of like it's cool that they have each other for that, but I don't think they're in love in real life.
No, 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 no. I don't either.
Um but okay, so what are you doing for the rest of the long weekend?
Not too much. I think we're gonna try and celebrate the anniversary tomorrow. I'm gonna be doing a
Oh
podcast
boy, you know
tonight
what that
with Matt
means.
Steele. I'm also just trying to get better since I'm under the weather. So,
Oh yeah, you have this is the day you shoot two gay mats.
yes, yeah, we're doing 2 Mats
Podcast
after
heavy
this.
day. Look at this. This is the
Yes.
grind that we're talking about. This is why Matt Palmer
Exactly.
wins.
Just because we're still doing it with stuffy noses and all. Yes. So that is my plan. What about you? Any big plans for the rest of the weekend?
Comedy stuff. Really just
Nice.
like I feel like a sense of urgency and I don't know if it's real or not, but maybe it's because the special just came out, but like
Yeah.
it being a new year, like I feel like this weird sense of urgency with comedy that like I want to leave it all on the field. So like however my career plays out, like I just want to be more focused now than I've ever been
Yeah.
and giving it everything. And I've talked before about like because I was raised by athletes, that's how I approach comedy.
Hmm.
And that there's a discipline that's required in that's like I'm sure you go through it too. You're like, I get really hard on myself when like a day isn't as productive as I thought it could be. Like
Yeah.
really hard on myself. And
Hmm.
when a day is like, well, I just cranked it out. Like that is really satisfying to me.
Hmm.
And so, but you're always aware of like, oh, if I had like how much more could have been. And with comedy, it's like you never know what joke is gonna pop. Did I
Right.
really write as much as I could today? Like did I push myself as much as I could? And I
Yeah.
think like I've always been a hard worker, but like there's this renewed sense of sometimes to the point of exhaustion, like where I'm just like, oh, but like I want to know what if I give it truly everything
Yeah.
what could be, which is a very intense headspace to be in. But I
Yeah.
don't have kids. I'm not married. Like, what else to fuck? Why else? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but especially around the time the special came out, like I can isolate a little too much in that
Mm.
headspace,
Yeah.
especially because stand up is such a solo sport. But
Totally.
yeah, I mean, do you know what I mean? Like where you're just like, oh, I think the best way to put it is like it's really on me. Because like you said, I can't control algorithms and who's
Yeah.
popular, who's blowing up at what times, and who's getting the gay slot at Hulu that I didn't get. Whatever. Like
Right.
I think also like it's helping me preserve my sanity to just focus on the part that I have control
Yes.
over.
Yeah.
But it's
No, I think.
also I was talking to my therapist about this. Like the older we get, the more you have to like when you're 21, it's like I can achieve anything. And then as
Mhm.
time goes on, you're like you have to sort of make peace with how it played out.
Yeah.
It's not like
Absolutely.
it's not like a anything can happen. Like anything can still happen moving forward, but you still got to make peace with what has happened, how the story has been written.
Right.
Isn't that a
Right.
weird thing sometimes?
It is strange, and yeah, no, I feel very similar to you in that, like, whatever this new year means or feels like, it feels like okay, this is where I want to decide how the rest of my life is going to go, and it also could be, as we inch towards 40, it's just like okay, now is a time
You
where
before
it
me and
feels
Matt Steele.
not that much earlier, but yeah, now feels like the time where you get to decide what you want your life to look like and how much time and effort you want to spend on building this thing that's your passion versus like doing the thing that's going to put money in your pocket, and like how do you balance that? But like you said, this is the moment now where like we don't have mortgages, we don't have kids, we don't have it's like if there's ever a time to invest in yourself, it is right now. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Not even just monetarily, but like just with the time that is spent and like the consistency. And like, I feel like every good thing that I can do in my life has been something that I've been able to create a habit around. And so if I can get a few more good habits about like how to get this stuff out, how I want to put things on Patreon versus the short form versus the long form, like that's only going to help. It's only going to
Yes.
help. And so that's like my mindset at the moment. We're very much in sync right now.
Well, and I'm reminded too, like one person can change your life really
Yes.
fast. And it's
Yeah.
like, I have this fantasy that I'm going to end up on the For You page of the White Lotus creator, Mike White.
Yes.
And like, but like, I know people in casting who are like, I cast all the time from people I see on my For You page.
Right.
Like, that's not like a weird pipe dream. And then, like, when Don Lemon followed me a few months ago and Karamo commented on my joke that, like, it was funny. I've gotten better about like seizing the moment because like Karamo has a talk show, which I didn't even realize. And then once
Yeah.
I saw you comment, and then once I saw you at a talk show, I was like, and that he was laughing at the joke. I was like, I can do 5 more minutes of that on your show if you want. Like, I like
love it.
turn it over, call to action right away because it's fleeting. He didn't follow.
Yes.
He just liked. So let's fucking. So it's like there. That is sort of the magical thing too. Is like you never know what's the thing that's gonna be. It's not like incremental progress. It goes in like big leaps and like it's crazy like that, but you're somebody who I have never worried about in that way because you're just going to be persistent until you get to where you want to be. I tell people all the time, I'm like, when I can tour nationally and be making a really good living doing it, I will not. I'll have nothing else to complain about. Will I still be complaining? Sure,
Of course.
but like that is the bar that I've set. That's like because I will say putting out my first special has been very validating because I'm like, oh, no one can say I'm not a real comedian. I'm on a major
100%.
comedy label and I have a body of work out. Like, and if I die tomorrow, that will that will be, you know what I mean? Like there is something, but at the same time, it was also super vulnerable because you have all these people asking about like, how did it do? Or like who, or like, oh, I thought you'd be more famous by now. Like there's all sorts of new expectations.
Has someone said that to you?
Everyone, all except for something recently has been very well-meaning, but like people say weird shit meaning well. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of like people I know vaguely being like, oh, so I saw your show. Well, I only saw parts of it. And I'm like, well, you had to buy it. So did you like,
Did you
like, don't act like you like turned on the radio and heard a piece of it. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, and then also like a sense of like, I think I've said this before, but like, I get the sense that like people think I want them to like it. And I'm like, oh, I was there when we taped it. Like like we already decided it's good.
Right.
Yeah. Like, so it's a little bit of like, once you have that body of work out there, you have to deal with everybody. It's like, it's what I imagine like when you're, when somebody puts out like their first music album and like there's discourse around how much it sold. And you're just like, it's hard to like be prepared for all of that, like people workshopping your career in front of you, essentially.
Yeah.
But like, so it's like, but my therapist was like, he's like, you've hit a new level of your career. So all of it's going to feel weird. And I was like, oh, that's a good way to frame it. Like, I'm getting used to this part. So going back to the Heated Rivalry guys, like, holy shit. Like I can just imagine, because this is just a microscopic compared to what they're going through. But I think you have the emotional tools to deal with overnight superstardom. So let's manifest
the thing, I guess we'll both see when it happens to us.
Well, okay, you have to do your show soon, so I won't keep you too much longer, but thank you for still keeping our hangout appointment despite your illness. That's one of many reasons why we are friends. Matt Palmer Music on socials.
Yes, and at 2Gay Mats for both of us for our show, our podcast, our YouTube, our Patreon. It's all 2Gay Mats TWO. And thank you again, Rory, for having me.
We love having you. No, you're the best, and you do a lot of podcasts, so it's not lost on me that you come, you come and you invite me on. But until next week, you guys, stay super excited.